Peace, family. This is Lions Den with news and commentary, doing the continued coverage of the 2-year anniversary of Philando Castile's death. Now, the video which you about to watch is the girlfriend of Philando Castile, who was a witness of what happened to him, and she will explain to ABC News or what happened to while she posted all of this on Facebook Live of the incident or with the police officer that killed Philando, and she's going to explain what happened and how, why this transpired of this shooting of him. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video, and I'm going to continue my commentary.
And we are joined now by Diamond Reynolds and her attorney, Larry Rogers. Thank you for coming in this one. We are so sorry for what you've been through. And we know how hard it has been just to see you watch that video one more time. But you and your daughter, Diana, have also been so strong throughout this. How are you doing now?
We're holding up. I mean, every day is challenging, but with God and all the support of everyone around America, I believe we can get through this.
And I think all of America has been so struck by the kind of composure and strength you showed during that horrifying few minutes with the police officer. Can you explain how you remained so calm and how you decided to shoot that video?
I was able to remain calm because I knew in the back of my mind, if anything was to alarm that officer, he possibly could have took me and maybe even my daughter. And what made me record the live video was God telling me, it's your word over theirs. And I just wanted the justice.
And, you know, you saw in that piece from even now, the officer's attorney is now speaking out as well. He says this was all about the presence and display of a gun, that it wasn't about race, and that he has audio and video that backs up that case. How do you respond to that?
I'm appalled that they would even say that, you know. The officer didn't take proper procedure, so the fact that they're stating that they had probable cause is absolutely incorrect.
So what happened? Did the gun ever come out?
No, absolutely not. He was never even asked, was he armed or anything. We told him. He told him.
So when you say the officer didn't follow proper procedure, try and take us to those moments before you were able to pull out the video and explain what happened, what you saw, what the officer said, what was going on.
Well, she's done that largely in the video. The video depicts the immediate aftermath, but it really describes the entirety of what happened, because she describes the moments leading up to when she pulled out the phone, and it's never denied, it's never refuted by the officer. And she emphatically says you asked him for his license and registration, and that's what he was getting at the time that you shot him.
So the gun, as you said, never came out?
Never. It never came out. It could never be a threat. He didn't ask about it. He didn't know it was on his person. He came to the car. He said it was a traffic stop for a tail light, and that he asked for license and registration. That was it. So that was all.
As you saw, the officer's attorney also says the broken tail light wasn't the only reason the car was stopped. Did he ever mention anything else?
He never mentioned anything other than a tail light, in which we later discovered there was no broken tail light.
And that's the concern we have here, is that they will begin to add facts to the circumstances, which is why her live stream video from Facebook is so important. It's contemporaneous with the events that occurred. She's emphatic about what's happening. She's complying with the officers as they were. The man is still seatbelted at the time that he's shot. And while a gun is still trained inside the vehicle and she is there, she knows that after the events unfold, she won't be believed. She won't be trusted. And she, like many people across America, have to document things because people inherently trust the officers against the citizens. So people are forced to document.
You knew there would be questions in that moment.
Absolutely. I knew that people would choose sides, and I knew that they wouldn't see me as being the person who would be telling the truth. And because of that, I chose to, in that moment, record the immediate aftermath, because I weren't able to record in the moment because I didn't want to put myself or my daughter in more danger. But I knew that by recording, I would be able to have my side brought to the table.
Have you seen the audio and video that the officer's attorney is speaking about? Do you know what he could be referring to?
I don't. And what's important about that is that she didn't hide a video. She immediately displayed it to the public and to the world. So if they have evidence that they think refutes that, produce it right away. Don't hide it. Show it to us. We'd like to see the dash cam. We'd like to see any and every piece of evidence that they have. We have demonstrated and shown what we have, and the world has seen it. Governor Dayton called it as he saw it. This involved race. This involved issues that likely would not have occurred had they been white people driving through the area.
The officer may be watching this morning. What would you say to him?
I would just like to say that I'm very hurt that he would take my best friend away from myself and my daughter's role model away from her. It's just very unfortunate that things had to result like this, and I just want justice to be served.
I've seen you look over at your daughter several times here over just the last few minutes. What do you say to her when you hug her at night?
I just tell her to stay strong, and we're going to be okay, and we're going to get the justice that we deserve.
And what does justice mean to you?
Justice to me means everyone being held accountable for their own actions. We're all human. No one is born into being doctors. No one is born into being lawyers. No one is born into being police authority. We are all born as humans, as one. So justice to me meaning someone meaning him has to be held accountable. Not as a officer or a man with a badge or someone even protecting our people, but him within himself as a person, how he was born into this world, just with no titles, no labels. He needs to be held accountable.
No special treatment for anyone. We all should be required to live by the rules, the same set of rules. And when you do an act that is unjustifiable, you should be held accountable.
You want justice, and what do you hope for the country coming out of all of this unrest, all this violence we've seen over the last week?
I am very baffled that people are resorting to violence with violence. Violence is never the key. It's not acceptable. We have to be able to come together and lead by example. If we're not able to stand together and control our emotions, then how can we ever expect anyone else in the world to do so?
And law enforcement has to stop closing ranks and stand up for what's right and what's just. We want an independent investigation by the Department of Justice. There is no faith in police policing police and investigating police.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you
for having us.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Philando Castile's girlfriend talking to ABC News Good Morning America about what happened, telling her side of the story, that she, live streamed it, and, as calm as she was and strong as she was, telling what happened that fateful day that her boyfriend lost his life through the hands of the police. For those of you who just watching it, whether if it's on YouTube, whether if it's on Reaction or Black Junction, I'm going to go ahead and post it on all of the video social media sites. I'm doing the anniversaries of two men that was murdered by police. Previously, I did with Elton Sterling, and now I'm doing this with Philando Castile, and they both were killed one day apart. This is the 2-year anniversary of both Elton Sterling and Philando Castile's death, and I'm as myself will talk about this because I want people to remember who those two men are. And I want them to remember that not all black men are thugs or criminals. You notice that, and even if one of them were a criminal, that's what, and they had a past. Anybody has a past. It doesn't matter what kind of past they had. It matters on what they doing now. And obviously, both of them, both Philando Castile, who was at that time a concealed carry person and had a right to carry a gun. And as far as Elton Sterling is concerned, regardless if he has a criminal past or not, even the state of Louisiana said anyone can carry a weapon. Anyone, as long as you have, as long as you registered for that gun. So my point is that we need to remember those two gentlemen that lost their lives 2 years ago. Whether they had a criminal past or not, they still human beings. And my thoughts and prayers goes to both families, the Elton Sterlings and the Philando Castile's family. Both their families didn't get justice, but I hope that both their families finally healed and finally seek closure and not give up the fight for justice, because at the end of the day, that's what we deserve. And that is why we have to continue to fight that we are right now. Well, everybody, that's all for now. I'm going to continue doing my videos. Subscribe my YouTube channel. Subscribe my reaction channel. Subscribe my Black Johnson channel for more news and commentary. And I'm going to continue to talk about more news and commentary later on today. But this is a special Lions Den news and commentary in celebrating 2-year anniversary of both Elton Sterling and Philando Castile's death. With that being said, this is Lions Den signing off. Deuces.